strong people finally getting into our own, Give me respect. Make it, man. Don't fake it, we just take it.
That's right, homie. Handle that. Let's get it.
What's good with it, y'all? It's your boy Santo G. Back at it. You already know. Spreading unity, prosperity, and respect. Above all, if you're new here, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. Tap that notification bell. It don't cost you nothing, and it will help out this channel. So today, I wanted to just talk with you guys, and I wanted to show you guys my legal status summary and pretty much break down my 10-year sentence. I know a lot of people be on social media, whether they say they did this amount of time or that amount of time, but a lot of people be capping on how much time they did, so on and so forth. Now me, when I say that I did 10 years, I did 10 years straight. I ended up doing 9 years, 4 months of my 10-year term. I was supposed to actually do 8 years, 6 months of that 10-year term because it was 10 years with 85%. But I actually ended up almost maxing out. I was 8 months away from maxing out my whole 10-year term. Now, like I said, I don't know anybody, no explanation, nothing like that. But I felt like it would do for a good video, good content, me touching on how I got 10 years, breaking down the charges, the penal codes, and what every charge carried. So, with that being said, man, I appreciate everybody that tapped in to watch this video. Let's get into it. So, this is my legal status summary from, what was the year? It's from January 8th, 2010. That's when I got sentenced. I got sentenced on January 8th, 2010. So, the initial crime was assault with a firearm. They were trying to get me for attempted murder. The whole time that I was going to court, that I was fighting my case, I got arrested in March of 2008. And I didn't get sentenced until January 8th of 2010. That's 2 years. That's almost a full 2 years that I went fighting my case, going to court. The whole time they were trying to give me 25 to life. And I believe my first deal that they ever gave me, my first ever deal that the DA tried to give me, was a deal for 39 years. And this is, if I'm lying, I'm dying. You already know exactly how my shirt says. If I'm lying, I'm dying. So, I go to court. I had to be about, I was 16 when I got arrested. By the time they came with that 39-year deal, I had to be probably 17 years old. 17 years old, my lawyer's coming telling me, hey, they gave me a deal to present to you. It's 39 years with 2 strikes. What? She's like, yeah, it's something. He's like, you'll be out when you're 51. Looked at him. I like, man, tell her to shove that shit up her ass. Like, 51? 16, 17 years old. You telling me I'm gonna be out when I'm 51? Like, I'm gonna be institutionalized. That's my whole life. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm good. Like, tell her I'm good. Fought it for a whole nother year. And then they came at me with this deal right here. And this, it was actually 12 years. But I ended up getting it down to 10. Now let me break it down to you guys. So, for the initial crime was attempted murder. But since the victim didn't die, they ended up giving me a deal for assault with a firearm. I ended up taking 2 years for the assault with a firearm. They wanted to give me 4 years. They wanted to give me 4 years for the assault with a firearm, and then they hit me with 2 enhancements. The enhancement was a street gang act in commission of a violent felony, which carried 5 years, and then the other one was use of a firearm, a discharge of a firearm, pretty much for letting off the gun in public. That carried 3 years. So 3 years for just letting off the gun for use of a firearm. That's 3, right? Then 5 for the street gang act, meaning that I did that in benefit of my gang. So that's 8 years. And then 4 for the assault with a firearm. So that was 12. So my lawyer came, he's like, hey, I got a deal for you. This was right before trial. We was already getting ready to go to trial and all that. He's like, I got a deal for you, man. He's like, they came with 12, right? So I'm talking to him and I'm telling him like, hey, like, what's the lowest of all of them, you know? They're charging me with assault with a firearm, all right. They're charging me with the gang enhancement, all right. And they're charging me with use of a firearm, all right. So I told him, what's the lowest of all the charges? So he's like, the assault, the lowest is 2. He's like, the gang enhancement, he's like, you're lucky they're not giving you 10. I don't know how many homies I know, just for the gang act alone, they got 10 years. So he's like, 5 is the lowest. He's like, on the use of a firearm, I believe the lowest is 3. Like, it's just 3 years, you know? So I'm like, what about the assault? He's like, right now they're trying to give you 4. But the lowest, he's like, I believe it's 2. I'm like, that makes it 10. The whole time, like, that I was fighting it, going back and forth to court and all that, I had spoke with my moms. You know what I'm saying? Shout out Yolanda, you know what I mean? I love you, moms. But I had spoke with my mom, and I told her, like, hey, anything 10 and under, I'm going to take it. You know what I mean? Anything 10 and under, I'm going to take it. To be honest, if he would have came to me with the 12, like, hey, they don't want to lower it, nothing like that, I would have even took the 12. And that's just facts. You know what I'm saying? Because you facing that life, like, I don't know if any of my subscribers ever been facing that life sentence, man. But when you facing that life sentence, man, anything without that life sentence to you is a plus. You don't know how many homies I know took 20 years, 22 years. Shout out my boy Shaggy, AK Locals, you know what I mean? Shout out my boy from AK, you know what I mean? But he ended up taking like 22, 23. Just because his crimey, shout out the homie Chucky from AK, he ended up getting 50 to life. His crimey got 50 to life and he ended up taking a deal for like 20 something. Just because he seen his crimey get life. He's like, man, hell nah, at least I'll have a date. You know what I mean? And hopefully my boy is home now. He should be home now already. But back then as kids, you know what I'm saying? That's the way we looked at it. You don't know how many homies got that life. Double digits. And I'm talking about youngsters. I'm talking about teenagers. But back to it. So let me break down my charges. So for assault with a firearm, I got a 2 years. And that one, the penal code is PC 245. So that's 2 years for that. It's penal code 245. So for the street gang act in commission of a violent felony, that's penal code 186.22. They ended up giving me 5 years. Now, for use of a firearm, which is penal code 12022.5, they ended up giving me 3 years. So 3 plus 5 plus 2 equals 10 years. I ended up serving 9 years, 4 months. out of those 10 years. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna go ahead and put this paper right here so that way you guys could see what I'm talking about with the penal codes and everything. But this is my legal status summary. That way you guys could see, man, ain't no capping in my stories. Ain't no capping with the amount of time that I've done. It wasn't nothing like, oh, I got out, went back in, but was only out like a week or a month, and then I'm counting them together. No, I actually did a full 9 years, 4 months out of 10 years. I was only out 2 months. I ended up catching another case for going on a high-speed chase. I ended up going back for another 21 months. So if you really add it up together, 9 years, 4 months, say, boom, what, another year? That's 10 years, 4 months. Another 10 months. That's 11 years. I've done 11 years, 2 months in the system. If you really want to add it together, I've done over 11 years inside that prison system. So, it's your boy Santo G, real raw and uncut. I just wanted to touch on this, a little different one. I just wanted to break it down to you guys, how I ended up getting 10 years. Breaking it down with the charges, the penal codes. You guys could look up the penal codes yourself. That way you could see, man, ain't no cap here. Real raw and uncut. Shout out my good people at Killer Kush. Shout out my good people at Drip Fits. Big salute to my good people at Cali Bullies. If you guys need any merch, it got the If I'm Lying, I'm Dying in the front. And it got the Santa in the back. With the Santo G Productions right there, man. If y'all want to support your boy and cop some merch, man, get at me on IG. With that being said, man, we out.